Hi everybody, welcome to another Beatles Finds video. I'm going to be showing some finds that I got at a record fair that I went to a couple of days ago. But before I do that, I'm going to show two items that I don't think I've shown yet, and if I did, I'm sorry. I know this one I may have shown, and yeah. Anyway, this is a unofficial, I think, record. It's just got a paper sleeve that goes on the 45 like that. It's called Exclusive Beatles Interviews, Seattle. And on the bottom it says, here John Lennon on God, and Brian Epstein, and Paul, George, and Ringo. So we got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So the label's not anything terrific. Also, I wanted to ask a question. Maybe you could leave your opinions in the comments section. When I make these videos, you know, I tend to do like what I'm doing now, just kind of laid back, and takes a little time here and there in between. I know a lot of people kind of make videos where they kind of edit out some of that extraneous stuff. Like, in other words, it's just like, and I've got this, and I got this. Also, I got that, and this too, you know, and it's like, it's kind of not so much dead space in between here. Let me know if you kind of prefer without all the deadness, or do you like this? You'll see as I go along, I'll give you other examples of that. Anyway, back to the show. Here's a sealed album that I got from my #1 record store, and it's the Aztecs live at the Ad Lib Club. And what's interesting about the Ad Lib Club is that the Beatles always went there in the 60s, and it's a club of choice. And that's why I got the album, because as a collector, you know, sometimes you people out there know this too. You get anything even remotely acquainted with the artist that you want to collect, and this has a little. This is part of the album. It's not a sticker. This is part of the actual cover, and it's got the Beatles, their signatures, and it says a quote: "The greatest club we've ever been in, the Beatles." So that's the reason I've got this, and I'm never going to open it, never going to play it. It's just nice to have. It's a nice cover artwork there. Okay, now on to the stuff that I got this past Sunday. And it's at the, well, this is the kind of stuff I mean, this kind of like in-between stuff here. Do you want this eliminated or not? Let me know. This is stuff I got at the record fair. To begin with, this is finally a Japanese Flag Series album. This is number 27 in the series, the Beatles' second album. This was not expensive. A lot of times I can't get these because more power to those that are getting them, but they have prices that either I don't want to pay or can't pay for these. They're really $100 and up from what I've seen ordinarily, and this wasn't that, so I was able to get it. And maybe the reason it wasn't that expensive was because there's a tear here in the Obi label strip, I should say. You almost wouldn't even notice it. I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, justify the unjustifiable. I would rather not have a torn strip, but it is what it is. And I already took the inside out. There's an inner little, what do you call it? I don't know. Inner paperwork. The Beatles' second album. These are always nice. You got photos inside, and you know, you have lyrics in Japanese and American, and I always thought it was funny when I was a kid and had these albums that I haven't done it here, but maybe I can make a video one day just on this. If you read the lyrics as translated into English, a lot of mistakes. I mean, we don't always know what the words are to songs. Sometimes we, you know, misquote them, but I can tell you that some of the words they come up with on these Japanese albums are not anywhere near what they're saying. It's pretty funny. But a little history about these for me. I remember in the 70s, I went to TSS department stores. Anybody remember that? Times Square stores. They had a nice record department, and the record department was always well stocked on imports from other countries. And I remember that's where I got my Japanese albums. And back then, if memory serves, they were under $20 each. I'm going to say they were anywhere from I think $16, $17, which would be beautiful now. Back in 1977 or 78, you know, $17, $18 was a lot for a 15, 16-year-old to get a hold of. But I had them, not every one of them, but a lot of these in the series, and I wound up eventually selling them from my original collection, as you know by now, watching my videos all the time. This doesn't have the original inner sleeve. This has a paper sleeve. This is not the original sleeve, but record is like brand spanking new. These Japanese albums, we all know, really great sound quality, and I remember to hear these at the time was a real revelation. So clean, and they're still very desirable for that reason. Now here's another one that I got at the record fair, and it's another in the series, the Japanese albums, but this one does not have an obi strip. It's one I've been wanting to get for a long time. Beatles number 5, not to be confused with the American Beatles 65, although it's the same album cover. The big draw on this one that I always liked from the 70s even was this picture here, which is a really cool shot of the group. And this has the inner sleeve, you know, these kind of bullet sleeves, I think they're called, bullet-shaped sleeves, plastic. And again, the albums look the same. I mean, you have to see Apple. You know, these are 70s presses, of course. And as I put this back into its cover, this is, again, keep this in mind, this is exactly what I want to know if you guys would like to see eliminated. Some of the time just waiting for this. This has a kind of identical Beatles number 5, but the pictures are a little different on all of these. Inside you have a couple more shots. This is the band. It's Sullivan. Think how easily I could edit this out, me taking time here. Okay. Don't you hate that about the world today? Everything's like rush, 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 you know. Attention spans have just disappeared, you know. Everything's like, let's get it done, you know. Oh, I want so much to make a rant channel. You have no idea. Let me know what you think of that, too. I mean, I'm trying to maintain a kind of, you know, decent image here, calm, laid back. I can really rant with the best of them. They just messed up my egg sandwich order this morning at my delicatessen. I'm so sick of it. It's a 50-50 chance when you order your sandwiches or anything you get these days, they're going to screw it up. 50-50 chance. Should I rant? Let me know if you want me to do a rant series. Maybe I'll start a channel, the rant channel, you know. Anyway, this is an upgrade of the Beatles Beat. I always say whenever I show this album, one of my all-time favorite album covers. I love it. This is in shrink wrap with the sticker of the import. And we got a 70s blue Odeon press. Okay, here's a bootleg album that I've wanted to get back for a long time. It's a standard green label. I'm not going to show the label, but it's I think this is called Abbey Road number 3, and the cover is just so nice, sitting at the steps. You got Paul and Ringo on there, and then you got John and George on the back. What was always so nice about this album was there was a take 37 of something on it, and that's easily available now, but at the time it was quite a gem to find. Okay, you know, I'm always looking for albums sealed when I can get them, in the shrink and or sealed, and I'm trying to get the Capitol albums that way. I got a hold of the 1977 Love Songs compilation, sealed. I got this at the record fair also. A little bit of a slight tear here, and of course always love those hype stickers. So I'm not going to open this one because I've got a plain copy, but the Beatles Love Songs, sealed. I got to get the others, Rock and Roll Music and the Red and Blue album, right? Wishful thinking. Okay, here's one I wanted to get back for a long time. I got it at the show. This is Liverpool, May 1960. John, Paul, George, and Stuart Sutcliffe. This is a double album. The label's nothing really to write home about. Double album, the first tapes that they knew about, where you have like home recordings, very crude, of them practicing when they were still pretty much kids, and a lot of this turned up on the anthology, I believe. You have stuff like Hallelujah, I Love Her So, a very early working version of Follow the Sun, and also you have the one after 909. But a lot of this, from what I've heard, is just a lot of general instrumental playing and fumbling about, which isn't really interesting to me. But I wanted this. I had this on an album once called The Quarrymen at Home, which was a single album. This is a double. So I'm happy to get a hold of that again. Back in the days in the 1980s, back in the old days in the 1980s, give me my Geritol. Used to go to Manhattan, Greenwich Village, and used to go to record stores, and I'll never forget the first time I saw this one. Ultra Rare Tracks. This is volume 3 and 4. They had 1 and 2 also, and I guess 5 and 6. I think I got all 3 of them at the time. I haven't found the other. But since this time, it's been available on all kinds of other titles, Unsurpassed Masters, and different variations of covers and colored vinyl. But at the time, wow, what a revelation this was, because you would go to the store. There's the label, Transcription Records, Beeb. Transcription Records. You'd go to the record stores, and you were a pretty seasoned collector. You knew what was available, what was not available, what was bogus, what wasn't, and you would see something like you'd say, "Well, I wonder. I never heard of this." It says, "Help takes 1 through 5." I Feel Fine takes 6 and 7. Day Tripper takes 1, 2, and 3. Yes, It Is take 1 and 2. We Can Work It Out. These are things that had never been available before. You thought, well, I'll take a chance on it, throw some coin, and see what happens. And boy, what a revelation this was. I mean, the sound quality is so good on this, and anywhere you get it now, that stereo sound too in a lot of cases. Studio right off the masters. In fact, the jokes used to go around. They wondered if Mark Lewison, the Beatles expert, he was writing a book at the time, Beatles, the recording sessions, the Ultimate Recording Guide, or whatever it was, and he was able to get access to all the tapes, listen to all the tapes in Abbey Road Studios, and we started wondering at the time if he somehow was responsible for this leaking out. But whatever it is, the sound quality was always so great, and I was amazed how Ringo's drumming is so loud and distinct on these session tapes. It seems like when they actually released the actual records, they kind of like cut him out, made him like a lot lower or quieter on it. You can really hear the drums better on a lot of these. Okay, this is a series on Psychedelic Records with a C. Psychedelic, maybe Psychedelic with a C. These are all interview albums that came out. This is one that I didn't have. It's called Movie Mania. It's on the set interviews during A Hard Day's Night and Help. Beatles being interviewed, and it's really cool. There's a whole bunch of great albums here if you're into the spoken word and conversations with the Beatles and stuff from this series. I'm missing a couple. I think one of them I'm missing is West Coast Invasion. I have East Coast Invasion, but I'll get them all eventually. Okay, got a George Harrison album here. This is from the UK, and it's his Dark Horse album from 1974, but this is a different cover. It's on the MFP label, which we know it as. MFP stands for Music for Pleasure. And that's what the label looks like. You can find John Lennon's Mind Games album like this. You can find John Lennon's Rock and Roll album like this. I think the Ringo album. There's stuff around. Okay, the last item I'm going to show for this video, I saved probably the least. It's a sealed copy, never been opened, of the Ringo the Fourth album from 1977. Say what you will about the album, and I like some tracks off it, but the cover is really fun. And usually when you see these albums, they're always gashed up with one of those cheap bins cutouts, slice somewhere. There's no slice on this, so that's why I picked it up. Well, that's it for another installment of my Beatles Finds. Thanks everybody for watching, and hope you had a good time.